Chicago Bears Weekly is back.
Yes! Yes! Hallelujah!
Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and welcome back to the season premiere of Chicago Bears Weekly. This is season 6 of the series, episode 1, and today is going to be pretty much a basic and simple episode. We're just going to look back at some of the things that we've learned, some of the things we've seen from the 2022 Chicago Bears, which unfortunately finished 3-14.
So much pain! So much pain!
Before I get into any thoughts on the Bears season that we just witnessed maybe a couple of weeks ago make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow and to boost the YouTube algorithm. And if you are one of the people that are not subbed, make sure you click the subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss any other videos that I post on this channel. Well, let's dive into this episode. Without further ado, let's dive into it. The basis of this episode, I'm not going to be going game by game. You can get a playlist right in the cards of my reaction to each and every single Bears game this season. This is not going to be in any type of chronological order from week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's not going to be anything like that. It's just going to be recapping some of the things we've seen, some of the things that we've learned. It's not going to be too much about moving forward. Those are going to be things discussed down the line in further episodes of this Chicago Bears Weekly season. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But this is just revisionist history. This is just looking back at exactly what went on in 2022, and that is it. First, I'm going to start off with some of the things that and the statistics of where the Bears finished as a team. And if you guys know me personally, or if you guys been a fan of this channel, or even if this is your first time viewing, I am not a big fan of looking at the stat sheet to determine what teams are good at, to determine what things are going on, because I've always been one of those type of people that the numbers, they may never lie, but they just do not tell the full story. And I will get into some of the reasons why after I give you guys some of the Bears numbers from 2022. Now, the Bears finished 23rd as an offense in points per game, finishing with 19.2. They finished dead last points per game defense, which finished 27.2. They were the 29th team against the pass defensively with 375.9 yards a game. They were the 28th ranked yards per offense period with 307 yards per game. They were the 32nd ranked passing offense, dead last, with only 130.5 yards per game. But they were the first ranked rushing team with 177.3 yards a game. They were the 17th ranked passing defense with 218.6 yards a game. And they were the 31st ranked run defense with 157.3 yards per game. Now, one thing you can say if you looked at those numbers, the Bears absolutely sucked the entire season defensively and throwing the football. Now, maybe the throwing the football is a little bit true, but if you look into some of those reasons, that is going to be deeper than that. And I am going to touch on that right now. Some of the reasons that the Bears struggled to throw the football was, one, the offensive line protection really wasn't great, let's just say pretty much all season long. The Bears struggled to protect the quarterback no matter who the opponent was. This Bears team absolutely struggled, and struggled is pretty much mightily, if you say it at that, to protect the quarterback. Now, with the Bears offensive line, whether you had Cody Whitehair in and out of the lineup, Lucas Patrick missed a ton of time, Tavin Jenkins missed time, Riley Reef was signed pretty much preseason. Alex Leatherwood the same way, pretty much preseason. Larry Borum missed time. Sam Mustipher was in and out. He was inconsistent. Riley Reeves, Schofield, Kramer, Dakota Dozier pretty much missed the season. You're looking at a Bears offensive line that was pretty much a shuffle work. The best person on the offensive line, I think, was Tevin Jenkins a little bit, but it was Braxton Jones, the left tackle, a rookie left tackle at that they drafted late. This team absolutely struggled in pass protection all season long. And if it wasn't for Justin Fields' running ability, Bears passing game would probably be even worse. And that was a part of the reason why the Bears finished first in rushing, was due to the ability of Justin Fields' speed, his 4.3 type speed at the quarterback position to run the football. Now, if you look at this Bears offense, if you go back to the beginning of the season where you had the 49ers, Packers, Texans, Giants, Vikings, Commanders, and that bit of a stretch from week 1 to 6, you can start to see that they were trying to throw Justin Fields the ball maybe a little bit too much. You had some games where they ran the ball heavily against the Houston Texans primarily. You had some games where they weren't trying to, I'm going to say, use, or they really didn't hone in on what Justin Fields did best. Now, of course, they were still one of the better running teams during that stretch, and they were running for 200 yards a game, or 120 yards, 130 yards per game during that 1 week to 6 stretch. Throwing the football was a struggle because you didn't see a little bit more of the bootlegs. You didn't see a little bit more of those RPO type of plays. Now, when you look at this offense as far as the passing game wise, and I'm only talking passing game at this particular moment, this passing game for Bears was pretty much a struggle fest all season. Partly, Equanimous St. Brown, hands were kind of suspect. Dante Pettis, hands kind of suspect. Byron Pringle, N'Keal Harry struggled with injuries all season. N'Keal Harry with the ankle sprain and being in and out of the lineup. Byron Pringle being in and out of the lineup with different various injuries. And you're not going to be consistent when you have some of the pieces that you kind of brought in to help be inconsistent. You had Velus Jones be in and out of the lineup and inconsistent. And on top of that, you add a guy like Chase Claypool during week 9 of the season. So not only do you have a struggling passing offense, you had new talent brought in mid-season. You lose Darnell Mooney during week 12 to the New York Jets. You have just in and out various different pieces. Kmet was solid. He started to come more towards the end of the year where they started to utilize him a little bit more in this offense. Luke Getsy had basically his hands full, I want to say, lack of weapons that the Bears possessed in 2022. Now, when you're talking about a running game, you're talking about Montgomery, Fields, Herbert, a little bit of Ebner, a little bit of Evans. This running game for the Bears is really what set them straight. Now, David Montgomery did miss some time due to injury. Herbert missed a couple of games due to injury. Fields even missed 2 games due to injury. Some of the running game kind of struggled, especially when Fields was out. Montgomery was out, and you could see the 1-2 punch between Montgomery and Herbert made a big difference as in how this team effectively ran the football. You learn that you are a run-first football team. You learn from the offensive side of the ball of the Bears that you're a run-first team with the lack of weapons. Justin Fields is still developing with some of those weapons. When you look at this offensively as a whole, the Bears really struggled to throw the football. Offensive line protections, receivers not creating separation, Justin Fields not really gaining or having that rapport with any other receiver. I looked at it outside of probably Darnell Mooney. This Bears team was just in 2022 not very good as far as throwing the football for those reasons. Running the ball, you would have thought running the ball so effectively like this Bears team did in 2022 would kind of help the passing game, but when you're not creating separation and Justin Fields is not really trusting some of the reads or trusting some of the receivers, and you also have Fields kind of miss some throws, but I will get into the development of Justin Fields in a later episode. Offensively, you can tell that you have something to work with Fields. Mooney, you can get some of that rapport with Claypool as he gets more adjusted to this Luke Getsy offense, especially being acquired mid-season to a struggling offense with a struggling offensive line. Now, when you look at the Bears on the defensive side of the ball, early on in the season, they looked solid. Now, the numbers are not going to say much, but they were getting after the quarterback a little bit better. They were creating some turnovers I think, better early on in the season versus what they did later on in the season. And of course, you had the trading of Roquan Smith after week 9. You had the trading of Robert Quinn after week 8. And those are two of the biggest pieces that you had on this Matt Eberflus 4-3 defense heading in to this 2022 season. Now, we did learn that rookie Jack Sanborn, undrafted, could be a very good player in this defense. Along with the rookie class, you have 2 second-round defensive backs in Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker, who they kind of struggled early on in the season. As the season went on for this Bears defense, those 2 guys started to get better. Now, they also missed time, whether it was concussions or different various injuries for Brisker and Gordon, but they have something to grow on with this young secondary. Eddie Jackson is still in the fold, even though he also got injured in that same game that Darnell Mooney got injured in week 12 versus the New York Jets. Jack Sanborn missed the last couple of games of the year due to his injury. You had a front 4 up front that pretty much absolutely struggled the entire season, whether it was Gibson, whether it was Al-Quadin Muhammad, who they just released before I pressed the record button on this episode. Justin Jones was probably your best player up front, and he didn't have that great of a season, but you could tell he can be productive if they were able to acquire guys around him. But like I said, that's for the future. Dominic Robinson didn't have that great of a season. Angelo Blackson showed a little bit of flashes. Armand Watts was okay late down the stretch. If you look at this Bears front 4, and I'm just speaking for the front 4, it was probably the worst front 4 that I've ever seen as a Chicago Bears fan, especially with the defensive latent history that this franchise has had, whether it's get the guy to the quarterback or just creating havoc in a running game. This was probably the worst front 4 that we've probably ever had, and I've probably ever seen in NFL history, at least with my own 2 eyes. Matthew Adams, Sanborn, moral linebacker positions, whether it was after Roquan Smith trade, even though Roquan Smith during his time, he probably had some ups and downs, especially with being adjusted to being in a 4-3 defense versus a 3-4 defense as an off-ball linebacker. Sanborn came in after that, and you could tell that he hustles to the football. He gets to the football 100%. Jalen Johnson had an up and down season. You even had a rookie Jalen Jones, Elijah Hicks, a young player. Houston Carson had to be thrown in. Vildor missed time with injuries. So a lot of the struggles of this Bears defense was pretty much injuries, lack of talent, and lack of experience in all fronts. And that's probably, I want to say, with this entire team and why they ended up with the worst record in the NFL. Not that great of a talent, very young football team, and a team that was just had a lot of growing pains to do. They had a lot of close games this year, whether it was close against Houston. It was a little bit closer than 27-10 in week 2. They had San Francisco where they came back. They had the Commanders, which they struggled in the red zone, and that was another thing of the Bears' issues this year. They were struggling to score points in the red zone. They had a high-scoring game against Miami. They lost close. Dallas just pretty much beat the crap out of us from the start. The Atlanta Falcons, they had a lead. They blew that. Detroit, they had some mistakes. The first Detroit game, they had some mistakes against that. New York Jets, it was just pretty much an injury-riddled team with Justin Fields being out. The second Green Bay Packers game, the Bears were in it. It was just they made mistakes late and they were unable to finish drives. The Philadelphia Eagles game, which was a lot closer than we expected. Buffalo, we was expected to get blown out of the water. The Lions, we got blown out of the water. The last Vikings game, blown out of the water. Season was pretty much over. You could tell at the beginning of the year, it was probably starting to look like a team that could probably finish maybe with 5 wins. Maybe 6 if the trades and, of course, the injuries didn't happen. But you could tell as the season went on and the injuries started to happen and the trades started to happen, this team just lost a lot of talent and it just wasn't a very good football team. And I will give credit to Matt Eberflus because he really coached this football team to play hard, as talentless as they were, as much as inexperience that this team had, and they had the most rookies play out of any team in 2022. I would give credit to Matt Eberflus, and I would give credit to Getsy. I would give credit to Adam Williams because Adam Williams was a guy I've seen a lot of Bears fans on Twitter just wanted him fired, but you got to look at he did not really have a ton of talent to work with. And plus you're installing a 4-3 defense with a lot of pieces that were some of other pieces I'm going to say were still left from that 3-4 scheme that the Bears have been running ever since the Vic Fangio day. This Bears season, as troubled as it was, this Bears season, as hard as it was to get through as us fans with our team wanting to win, it created a big offseason to have. But like I said, I will get into that in later episodes. But those are just my thoughts on what happened during the 2022 Chicago Bears season. Make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow. Comment you guys' thoughts on what you learned and what you've seen for 2022 down below. And as always, click the sub button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the content that I post. But I am APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great and excellent day. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.